place where God shows up. Thank you for showing up this beautiful, whoever ordered up this gorgeous Labor Day weekend. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It's so beautiful. And it's so wonderful to see your faces this morning. I want to thank Kat and Mary Kay, our Unity Band, Tia on sound, Donna and Acela on video. Would you show them your appreciation this morning for being here? Yeah. We also want to say a hello to all of our live streamers. You know, there's one, I'm sure there are many benefits of being sequestered due to COVID, but one of the blessings is that we have picked up followers from all over the place. So we want to say hello and welcome our live streamers wherever you're joining us from and whenever you're joining us. We also want to welcome any young people. We have what we're calling Sunday School in a Bag. We have some kits. Reverend Barbara Ann has those kits. If we have any young people or if we have some parents and you'd like to take one home, if you'll just stand up or somehow wave so that she can find you. Reverend Barbara Ann, there's one in the very back, Mary Ann. Every one of you today. And thank you for being here. We always like to begin with a prayer, and I invite you to join me in an opening prayer. This morning, as we turn our awareness within, we do so in the spirit of a holiday, of what it means when we become intentional about declaring something an occasion to celebrate. And that we can do that in many areas of our lives. Today, we join together and celebrate what it is to do our best and why that's a good idea. And so for this opportunity today to seek and to find, to bless and to be blessed, we're truly grateful. Thank you, God. And so it is. Amen. You know, there's, I think in many ways there's something that has become a lost art and a lost practice. And it's the art and practice of doing our best. And that even though, you know, we would all probably agree to do our best is a good idea, today I want to talk about why it is a divine idea. And to look at 3 questions in particular that really help us understand the consciousness and the commitment behind the effort we're putting forth and how it can really help us on our spiritual journey. And to kick us off, Kat is going to start with a song this morning that says, "This is the Moment."
This is the moment, this is the hour, time to put everything on the line. I am the answer, I am the reason, I'm a believer, it's all inside of me. I will not be broken by some fear, I will not stand still again. I won't fall apart like all those times before. I won't take it anymore. This is a revolution, and I am a changer. I am the master of all I see. I'm the beloved, I am the lover, I am the spirit inside of you and me. I will not be broken by some fear, I will not stand still again. I won't fall apart like all those times before. I won't take it anymore. time to put everything on the line.
Stay right here just a minute. That was beautiful, Kat and Mary Kay. I'm going to ask you to stand, and without moving out of your circle, just take this opportunity to turn and namaste from 6 feet away. Just greet your neighbor, if you will.
God shows up. You know you're the place. I am the place. You are the place. We are the place that God shows up. I am the place. You are the place. We are the place that God shows up. The place where God lives, moves and breathes and has its being. I am the place where God shows up.
Yeah, thank you for showing up. Request that if you can turn your cell phone off or put that on airplane mode, it really helps things and helps individuals. So we appreciate it if you are willing to do that. So the art and practice of doing your best. I think it's very fitting for Labor Day. You know, Labor Day is a national holiday. It's been around for a long time, and it's meant to celebrate our endeavors, our commitment, the efforts of the American people. But as I said earlier, more than a good idea, doing our best is really a divine idea. And so we want to look at 3 questions around that today. And and I think one of the best ways to really enter into the understanding of what it means to do our best is to consider the story that I'm sure many of you know. But a man moved into a new neighborhood, and he'd get up early every morning and go for a walk, and he admired one particular home because of the gorgeous flowers, just these incredible flower beds that were so taken care of and just growing beautiful variety and colors. And he'd notice it every morning when he walked by. Well, one day he saw a woman out working in the garden, and he stopped and he said, I admire these beautiful flowers every morning on my walk. They're so beautiful. And he said, isn't this just a beautiful garden God is growing here? And she said, yes, it is. And you should have seen this garden when God was the only one doing anything with it. And I love that story because, as Eric Butterworth says, God can do no more for us than God can do through us. And so what we're not talking about, I do believe there are things called divine intervention. I personally believe in angels. I certainly believe in miracles. But I also believe that way too many times we fail to really comprehend what the African proverb means when it says, pray and move your feet. That we are required to do our part. And so when we're talking about doing our best, it's really a powerful spiritual teaching to do our best. And, if we couple that, so to speak, with Labor Day, you think about Labor Day and our work and our contributions, you may think, well, I don't work at a job anymore. But we all work at many different things. You may or may not work at a job, but perhaps you're working on a particular project. Perhaps you're working on raising a family or helping particular family members. Perhaps you're working on running a household. or volunteering or hobbies. I just recently had a person tell me, I work at being a certified retiree. I'm like, I hope I get to do that one day. But whatever your work is, it's engaging your energy. It's engaging your potential. And so to look at the consciousness and the commitment that we have within our effort, and why so often do we really do so much less than our best. When I was contemplating this concept this week, I asked myself, what was one of my first understandings of what it really meant to do your best or not to do your best. And I remembered when my sister and I are only 18 months apart. And when we were younger, our mom would get us ready for bed, and then at some point she'd say, now go brush your teeth, we're going to go to bed. And my mom was pretty strict about how we brushed our teeth. She wanted us to brush our teeth for 2 minutes. And so when Mom was there, we did. But when Mom wasn't around, that seemed like a lot of unnecessary brushing. So my sister and I would quickly brush our teeth, but we knew Mom was expecting us to brush them for 2 minutes. And so we stayed in there, but we just took some water and splashed it around the counter very strategically. We put a little toothpaste here, and then we'd go to bed. Well, one time we went to visit our Avon lady. How many of you remember the Avon lady, or maybe the Avon man? One Saturday, our mom needed to stop and pick up some stuff, and she stopped. Hello. I'll let them get to the airport. They're really close. Mom took us to the Avon lady's house. We went in a minute so she could pick up some stuff. And as my sister and I sat down, we needed to be real quiet. We noticed the Avon lady was talking like this. And there was a jar beside her chair, and these teeth were floating in that jar. And my sister and I were just wide-eyed at seeing those teeth in the jar, and the Avon lady talking like this with no teeth. So when we got back in the car, we asked our mom, what happened? And she said, well, that's what happens when you splash water on the counter instead of brushing your teeth for 2 minutes. And then she said, why not just go ahead and put your energy into doing your best rather than make it look like you were trying to do your best? And to this day, I still remember that. I'm haunted by teeth floating in a jar. I brush. So that was one of my first memories of knowing. I knew that I wasn't doing my best. But, I really didn't think that it mattered until I knew better. And hence the saying that when we know better, we do better, ideally. I said that doing our best is a divine idea, and it really is. In the Old Testament, quite often the tradition was to bring an offering. But the scriptures were very specific about the offering you were to bring. It was always the best, without spot, without blemish. It went into great detail, and so that the offering the individual was meant to bring was supposed to be the best, the first fruits, the absolute best. And there was a reason for that. And then in the Old Testament, in Ecclesiastes, it says, whatever the activity in which you engage, do it with all your ability. And then in Colossians, whatever you do, work at it with all your heart, as if working for God. I like the way Don Miguel Ruiz said it when he said, God is life. God is life in action. And the best way to express your love of God or your love of life is to live your life doing your best. And I've noticed that many, many people want their lives to be better. If we're honest, how many of you would like your life to be better in at least one area? There's many, many people, we want our lives to be better. But the question is, are we giving our best in that area right now? Because if we're wanting our life to be better and we're not already giving our best in that area, well, the universe knows that. We could say God knows that. And so it's about the willingness to give our best, because when we use our abilities to our fullest potential, what happens is we tap into the vastness of who and what we are, and we engage our own potentiality in doing that. And so the three questions that we can use and can look at when we're talking about doing our best. Apparently this is going to be a busy day at the Mills River Airport today. The first one is, how is my effort in this moment? How is my effort in this moment? Because your effort in any moment is a great indication of your consciousness and the commitment behind whatever you're doing. How is your effort in that moment? You know, when I was a kid pretending to brush my teeth, if I had the wherewithal to ask myself that question and be honest, how is my effort in this moment? It was not very good. It was certainly not wholehearted. And the other thing about doing our best and how is your effort in the moment is you're doing your best for you, and it's your best. And also to realize, how are you doing your best in this moment? That, you know, there are times that if you are well rested and feeling really good, your best is going to look different than if you wake up and you didn't sleep all night or you're sick. It's not the same. Your best in an environment that is supportive will be different probably in an environment that is totally unsupportive. And you can't measure your best by what you may have done. You certainly can't measure your best by what someone else is doing. But we measure our best by being honest with ourselves in the moment, that to ask ourselves that question, is this my best effort in this moment? I have a friend recently that told me she took some time during this COVID and went to a cabin by herself, and she wanted to finish some writing. She took 2 weeks and dedicated to writing, and she was almost through. And the last morning she got up early because she had one more chapter she wanted to write, and she knew she could get it done that last day. But when she woke up early that morning, she was kind of sniffly and had some allergy symptoms, so she took an allergy pill. And she started trying to write, and then just her head got so groggy, and she looked, and lo and behold, she had taken a PM medicine, one of those that make you go to sleep. And she said she was just so angry because she had one last chapter to write, and she kept just trying to force herself to do her best. And she said, I finally had to realize that the best I could do in that moment was to go lie down and take a nap. And so she did. She finally said, the best thing I can do right now is embrace what I've already done, let myself rest a little bit. And she did, and was able to get up and finish what she wanted to do. So to just remember that our best effort in any moment is going to be changing. So how is my effort? What is the quality of my effort in this moment? And is it the best I have to offer? Well, quite often, if you ask yourself that first question and you're honest with yourself, it leads you to the second one, is what is standing between me and my best effort? That if I'm not putting forth my highest and best effort, why? What's standing between that? Sometimes what stands between our best effort is maybe we did it before in the past and it just didn't seem worth it. Or we just don't feel like we have what it takes to do our best in a particular area. I saw a Peanuts cartoon where Charlie Brown was playing baseball, and he has the glove up in the air, and the ball is almost ready to drop right in the air. And Lucy is jumping up and down. You've got it, catch it, Charlie Brown. And then he drops it. And he says, sorry I dropped that easy fly ball. I saw it coming, I thought I could catch it, but then I remembered all the other ones I dropped, and I let the past get in my eyes. You know, so often it's like that. We let the past get in our eyes, or something else get in our eyes that keeps us from doing what we know is our highest and best. What stands between you and your best? Another thing I know that sometimes stands between us and our best is we're not willing to ask, to stop and ask for help. There's a true story. In 1927, John Hartman, this is when all the different cola brands were coming out, and this particular ex-cola brand In 1927, John wanted to take it to China because he knew that it had taken off in the United States and other countries, and he just knew it would be received well in China. And so he went, and on every corner of Peking at the time, he couldn't speak Chinese, and so he put up 3 pictures. And these pictures, the first picture was a man dying of thirst in the desert. The second picture was a man drinking that cola. And the third picture was the man rejuvenated and full of energy. Well, much to his surprise, his product didn't sell at all. As a matter of fact, the little bit that it had sold, it stopped selling. And so finally he asked someone local, can you look at this and tell me what I may have possibly done wrong? And they said, well, in your country, you read from left to right. In our country, we read from right to left. These people think your product is killing them. And it's a true funny story, but it's just the point of being willing to ask for help. That so often we settle for something that sounds simple, that we're not doing our highest and best, but are we willing to ask? Are we willing to continually be growing when it comes to doing our best, to do all that we can possibly do? Several years ago, when the book came out by Don Miguel Ruiz, the book titled The 4 Agreements, if you're familiar with that, the last of the agreements are always do your best. And so when this book first came out, I taught a 4-week class series on it. And the last week, when we were looking at this concept of always do your best, I asked everyone in the class, we looked at the question, what keeps you from doing your best? And people said things like, well, habits, just an unconscious habit. Or why bother? Or, I've done my best and it hasn't been appreciated, so it's just not appreciated. What keeps you from doing your best? Well, I don't feel like I'm capable of it, or I don't feel good about myself. Some people said I get lost in my perfectionism. Others said I'm spread too thin. One person said resentment keeps me from doing my best. And then we left that question and we went to the next question or statement. When I do my best, it leads to, and people thought about that. I mean, think about that for yourself. When you know that you did your wholehearted best, how do you feel? When we know we've done our wholehearted best, we feel good about ourselves. There's a sense of inner satisfaction. There's a sense of personal integrity. That's a big one. One person said, I have peace of mind. A couple of people said, I can really sleep good at night when I know I've done my best, because my best is the best I can do, and it gives me peace to sleep. Others said, I feel connected to my higher potential. But the one person that said, what keeps you from doing your best, she had said resentment. And hers was very unusual, because for this next question, when I do my best, it leads to, she also said resentment. So what keeps me from doing my best? Resentment. When I do my best, it leads to resentment. So we looked at that. And what she said was, she said, in the household where I grew up, I always had to do more than my fair share. And she said that pattern has translated through my life. At home, I have to do more than my fair share. At work, I have to do more than my fair share. And she gave a number of examples of having to do more than her fair share. And so for her, that was really true. When she did her best, it was leading to feelings of resentment. And so what we helped her see is, what if doing your best involved having an honest heart-to-heart conversation with yourself and saying, whatever it is that is standing in the way of me doing my best, am I willing to deal with that? Whatever it is that stands in the way of me doing my best with my kids, me doing my best with my family, me doing my best in my intimate relationship, me doing my best on my job, me doing my best, fill in the blank. Whatever it is that is standing in the way of me doing my best, am I willing to look at it? And without shaming myself, to look at it, to own it, and then to realize that my doing my best is about being present to this and figuring it out so that I can wholeheartedly do my best and feel good about it. Can you see the shift that can take place when we do that? And so we are always asking, how is my effort in this moment? What is standing between me and my best? And then the third one is what I am doing in service to God or in service to love? Whatever I'm doing, this is the true litmus test. Is it in service to love? There's a meditation teacher that I admire, Tara Brach. And Tara has a son named Narayan. And she tells a story about Narayan. When he was 6, she bought him an ant farm. And he was enthralled with that ant farm. Because if you've ever watched an ant farm, they began to magically create tunnels. They would team up and work together. They would cooperate and share food together. And her son Narayan was watching the ants, and he quickly also discovered that when an ant would die, that the other ants would take that ant to a burial ground. That as time went on, they were even so sophisticated as to have an ant burial ground. That there was a real structure and community and organization around what these ants did. Well, one day, again, Narayan was 6 in first grade. She went to pick him up from school, and he was visibly distraught. When she picked him up and he's in the car, and she said, "Honey, what's wrong?" And after a couple of minutes, she said his little lips started quivering and tears started streaming down his face. And he said that day during playground time, that some of the kids had discovered an ant hill. And as kids do, they made it their mission to kill every single ant they could find. Well, Narayan had been watching these ants and had really gotten to know them. And so he was visibly distraught because the other kids were killing the ants. And Tara writes, she said, "I tried to comfort him by explaining that when we really spend time with any living being, as he had with the ants, and we find out that they're real living beings, that they're changing, they're animated, they're hungry, they're social, they're like us, that their life is fragile and they want to stay alive. When we realize that, we do all we can to take care of them." And she said, "Your playmates aren't bad, they just haven't had the chance to get to know ants in the way you have. And once they get to know ants in the way you do, they wouldn't want to injure them either." And that story made a real impact on me, because when I think about this question, what is whatever I am doing, is it in service to love? That's what makes our doing our best a true spiritual practice. Because it's not only doing our best, it's actually doing our highest and best. Richard, would you give me that song? How is my effort in this moment? What is standing between me and me really doing my highest and best? And is what I am doing in service to love? You may prefer to say, is it in service to God? God is love. Is what I am doing in this moment in service to love? How many of you are on any form of social media? How many of us, if we would pause and say, what I'm getting ready to post, is it in service to love? How many of us would have fewer posts? How many of us would have fewer arguments? I truly believe that our world, in some ways, has lost touch with this art and this practice of honest to God, doing our best. But you know, we don't do our best just for another person, because you'll get tired of that eventually. We do our best when we realize that we're created to do our best. and that to give anything less than our highest best potential consistently, we all have times when we're off. But if as a general rule, you're living your life doing your highest and best, then I promise you, you're continually evolving. In the scriptures, there's a story of Paul or Saul on the road to Damascus. He was very vigilant of going and capturing and imprisoning and killing those that were not following the Hebrew law of the day. And while he was doing his best at the time, as the story goes, he was blinded by a light. And he was not able to see for a period of 3 days. And in that period of time, something began to shift in him, because he realized even though he had been diligent in what he was doing, it wasn't in service of love, the kind of love that loves everybody equal. I would ask any person, show me anywhere in the Bible where Jesus ever said it's okay to treat some people worse than you treat others. Show me anywhere in the Bible where Jesus ever said it's okay to consider these people an enemy. It just didn't happen. And so if it is to be, it's up to us, for us to find it within ourselves to say, whatever I'm doing, is it in service to love? And not to should on yourself, but to realize this is where I get to be lifted higher. How many of you are willing to hold those 3 questions with me this week? To ask yourself, how is my effort in this moment? Is there anything, what is standing between me and my best effort? And is what I am doing in service to love? And if not, we have the capacity to shift. There's a beautiful song that we sing sometime that says, these hands can build a road, heal a heart, and move mountains. These hands can change the world, for these are the hands of God. Yes, these hands can build a road, heal a heart, and move mountains. These hands can change the world, for these are the hands of God. I invite us to close our eyes. This weekend, as our country in particular celebrates Labor Day, that it's not just an end of the summer season, but it's so much more. It is a time for us to acknowledge our individual contributions, our capacity to make a contribution, and to realize that every one of us are born with a purpose. It could not be otherwise. We all are born with purpose. And that purpose is demonstrated through our consciousness, through our choices, through our commitment, through our actions. And so we commit to bringing awareness to the quality of how we do whatever we're doing. And that if there's any ways we're undermining our own potentiality, that we're simply doing that. We are undermining our own potentiality. The true joy of giving and doing our best puts us on the threshold of our own potentiality. When we consistently strive and self-correct to do and be our very best, We're tapping into the vastness, the infiniteness of who we are as an expression of all that is. And we will be continually opened to greater degrees. For whatever we give, we simply increase our capacity to give just that. And as we give our highest and best, we increase our capacity to give our highest and best again and again and again. I invite you to think of one area in your life, just one area right now, that you want to make a commitment to give your highest and best. So we give thanks for that ability to give our highest and best. We surrender in the sense of giving over any false beliefs that we cannot give our highest and best, because we always can. And so individually and as a community, let us be those lights that, honest to God, so to speak, we aim to be that love, to be in service to love, to be the best that we can. And so it is. Amen.
I will surrender to my greatest, highest good. I will release any fear that blocks my way. For every step I take is taken in pure faith. And I am stronger every moment, every day. My mind is willing and my heart is open wide. I trust my instincts and let Spirit be my guide. I vow to live a life that's real and pure and free as I continue walking in this mystery. I surrender to my greatest, highest good. I release any fear that blocks my way. For every step I take is taken in pure faith. And I am grateful every moment, every day. There may be walls, there may be roadblocks in my way, but I can choose to take a higher path each day. And now I know what I thought was safe and sound was only habit and regret that held me down. I will surrender to my greatest, highest good. I will release every fear that blocks my way. For every step I take is taken in pure faith. And I am kinder every moment, every day. are loving every moment, every day. I surrender every moment, every day.
Thank you so much. Thank you for that. So we're going to take just a pause for a second. All of you would give a wave. We're going to sign off to our live stream. They can actually prepare and for our 11 o'clock live stream. So we want to thank you for joining us. And I want to thank each and every one of you for being here. Isn't this building looking beautiful? Yeah. And Michael Morano and Joe Wegner, would you both stand? I know I've seen you both around here somewhere. I want to thank, I'm not kidding, they're out here almost every day staying on top of this and doing so much work. I also want to thank our Unity for Habitat team who keep things clean and beautiful, but this week Joe actually did an extra mow so you would have nicely mowed grass. We had volunteers that helped put these circles. So will you show your appreciation to all of those that made that possible? I want to thank you for that. Thank you so much for that. We will not be collecting an offering as we traditionally do. There's some blue boxes. I know many of you are now giving your donations online or mailing it in. We truly appreciate it. What we're doing continues, and so your steadfast commitment means more than you may ever know. If you do have an offering you'd like to leave today, there are those donation boxes. So we want to thank you again. We want to wrap it up with Kat and having her close out with a song. How many of you would like one more song from? Yeah.
It's like a maze.
It's like a jungle gym. We will be back in 2 weeks, and then we'll have this again 2 weeks in October, of course, weather permitting. But and then we're hoping that after that we'll be able to start having smaller services inside. So we'll continue to be creative, and until then, shall we gather at the playground? So. I've got a feeling everything's going to be all right.
Put your hands together. I got a feeling he's gonna be alright. Oh, I got a feeling everything's gonna be alright. Oh, I got a feeling everything's gonna be alright. Be alright. Be alright. Be alright.
My spirit told me.
Oh, my spirit told me everything's gonna be alright. Oh, my spirit told me everything's gonna be alright. Oh, my spirit told me everything's gonna be alright. Be alright. Be alright. Be alright. Come on, Richard. praying, everything's gonna be alright. Oh, I've been praying, everything's gonna be alright. Oh, I've been praying, everything's gonna be alright. Be alright, be alright, be alright.
I got a feeling.
Oh, I got a feeling everything's gonna be alright. Oh, I got a feeling everything's gonna be alright. Oh, I got a feeling everything's gonna be alright. Be alright, be alright, be alright. Be alright, y'all. Be alright, be alright, be alright. One time. Be alright, be alright, be
Thank you so much for being here. Have a wonderful Labor Day weekend. Give somebody once again that namaste, but from 6 feet away. Thank you for being here. We look forward to seeing you online next week and then hopefully here again in 2 weeks. Blessings to each and every one of you. Hit it again, Richard.